So I expect that Modern Horizons 3 is going to bust Pauper in half temporarily. There's some insane commons being spoiled. So let's take a look at the format before these cards hit so we get a feel for how much the format changes and warps. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Pauper video. And today Armchair General has asked me to play with a Pestilence deck list. And for those of you who enjoy things like Legacy Pox, this is probably going to be your vibes and you're going to like this a lot. The deck's namesake card is Pestilence. At the beginning of the end step, if no creatures are on the battlefield, you sacrifice Pestilence, and for a black mana, you can have it deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. So in Pauper, where on average the creatures are relatively small, 2 toughness is very common, for example, Pestilence is oftentimes 2 mana wipe the board, which is kind of crazy. And you can play creatures that dodge your Pestilence. So if you have a Guardian of the Guildpact that has protection from monocolored, you're always going to have a creature in play for the sake of that Pestilence, which is quite powerful. Alternatively, if you just play creatures that have big butts and are unlikely to die to Pestilence activations, or that otherwise allow you to kind of ping something and finish it off, you can have very strong control of the board. Now, since this does damage to each creature and each player, you are going to want to have life gain of some kind built into your deck list. And you don't need a lot, but you do need just a little something that kind of will push you over the edge and make sure that your opponent dies to Pestilence before you do. We are going to be using Troll of Khazad-dûm as a way to hit our land drops. We want a lot of black mana in this deck, and you'll notice there's not a single basic white source in the deck. The Troll allows us to find our Sunlit Marsh, which is the way that we are going to get our white mana for Guardian of the Guildpact, as well as some sideboard cards. And because we do want the game to go so long, this just can become, a 2 or 3 turn clock at the end game. And kind of rounding out the deck list here, we have a decent amount of removal spells of various natures, as well as some amount of card draw. In terms of other engines, Thorn of the Black Rose giving us the Monarch is a way to kind of keep ahead once we stabilize the board a bit. And we can do the whole I'm going to play Ichor Wellspring, draw a card, I'm going to sacrifice it to the bargain to kind of keep going and go through our deck. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hop into the matches here. Should you find that you like Pauper, you can order a whole deck, maybe for the price of some of the legacy cards that you might buy, and consider checking out toamagic.com and use promo code ThrabenU while you're there to save 5% on your order. I recently placed an order with them. It was here like the next day. It was insane. I was very happy with the delivery time. Anyway, let's battle. All right, let's do this here. So I've got an early removal spell. I have another creature that can help me stabilize the board. And then I have sort of another removal spell / source of life gain. This is a perfectly fine start. I'm guessing that we are playing against some sort of affinity deck based on what I'm seeing here. I don't think I've played a Pauper League in a couple of months. Yeah, I've got affinity vibes. So yeah, I'm just holding up removal here. Yeah, this is fine. Blood Fountain is kind of annoying. It is a really good way to come back from single target removal spells. I don't have anything to do with my mana on my turn, so I'm just going to Tithing Blade this creature rather than cast it down. So bam, and bam. I would also really like to use the Tithing Blade to kill a good creature rather than something, small. I'd rather get the 4/4 Mirror Enforcer with it than the 2/2 Frogmite or something. Are the draw twos beginning? The draw twos are beginning. So all these Deadly Dispute, Reckoner's Bargain type cards are like core card advantage things in Pauper. Protection from monocolored, not the best in this particular format. Thoughtcast, real good. Okay, folks, let's relax. Let's hold on. Let's not. Kuambaj Witches is a way for me to kill this. So, could Reckoner's Bargain sacrifice the Tithing Blade? I don't super want to take 4. This is an instant. But I don't think I want to play it as an instant, though. Due to, like, combat math and blocking stuff. This whole multiple Mirror Enforcer in the graveyard Blood Fountain thing is, like, definitely not the best. Not a fan. But that probably ends up happening no matter what. So we are very far away from wanting to craft this. I think I'm going to try to find some cheaper removal here. Rough. Very rough. Okay. Like, the longer I hold out, the more life this gains me, so that's at least something. I think my opponent is just going to churn through draw twos in a way that is very negative for me. I think I'm just going to get buried. Sure. So I think I will go ahead and take the block here. I'll get smacked for 8. And so the way this works is I deal 1 damage to a target, and my opponent deals 1 damage to a target. So I could trade Shaman for Witches here. I think I'm into that. But what might end up happening instead is it's just I take 1 damage to the face to take this Shaman off the board. Alright, and that is what happens. I'm going to swap cycle at least one of these, I think. I'm just not really in a position to just play this, trade with one of these. My opponent just Blood Fountains both of these back again. What does this one do? Target creature from your graveyard on top of your library. So that can just get the troll right back. It is a May. I'm going to go ahead and just pick up one of those. I don't think I'll cycle the other one immediately. Don't love seeing more land, which is blocks Frogmite. I think I'm going to hold off on Tendrils for a bit longer and just kind of efficiently use my mana here. Hope that I can Tendrils plus some other spell on a future turn. I think conceptually my plan is try to keep my life total high enough that I could Pestilence and clear these out. Fuck. This is very scary. That is a lot of direct damage. And more importantly, it means that my opponent can sacrifice a creature that I target. Oh no, that's so bad. That is so incredibly bad. Okay. So here's to hoping that my opponent ends up tapping out. I can, I guess, target my own creature with Tendrils of Corruption. That's not maybe how I would want to go about my life, though. Alright, so we do combat damage. Opponent is not tapping out. So scry 1, draw a card, gain some life if I sack it. Let's do this. I do not want that land. It is more bread. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 artifacts can just go directly at my face in this next turn cycle. I think I am holding up Tendrils and Lembas at the same time. Gaining 7 life with a Tendrils is such a huge deal right now. My opponent did not tap out to throw things at me end of turn, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. Just activate your Blood Fountain, please. Just tap out, activate your Blood Fountain. I think I'm blocking here. If my opponent wants to throw something at this to finish it. Oh, just let me Tendrils. Just let me Tendrils. So awkward. If I Tendrils and target my own thing, it's kind of awful. I'm not dead if I crack this for life. So I guess I will crack this for life. Oh, fuck. I am dead. Okay. I was so dead. It was just a question of when. All right. What sort of anti-affinity things do I have? Divest. Okay. I don't know that I am in love with my options. I'll play Revoke Existence. Blood Fountain seems so good against me that I probably need Relic of Progenitus. And then I can play some additional removal spells. Guardian of the Guildpact is not the best here. Guambage Witches also pretty mid. I don't know that I can just like board out 7 creatures in my Pestilence deck. I think I'm going to get rid of these for these. Is the Siphon Life cuttable? I'm going to hope that that's cuttable. I think I'm going to be relying on Troll as a way to win. My hand's got some removal. It's got this whole card advantage engine thing. I just don't know that I keep up with Affinity, just generally speaking. But if I do, Pestilence might be the way that I just physically keep from dying. So, try to put together a plan. Guardian plus Pestilence is a theoretical plan. I need more land drops than what I have right now. I'll play this past the turn. We'll probably go for an end of turn Reckoner's Bargain on the Wellspring. I suppose I potentially open myself up to a removal spell by waiting, but I don't know that I want to... Or sorry, not a removal spell, a counter spell, but I don't really know that I want to just telegraph that hard that I don't have a traditional instant speed removal spell for mana. Alright, new artifact land drop into a Wellspring. That's fine. The critters are going to start coming out either this turn or next turn. Frogmites are already free. Mirror Enforcers are cheap. Let's draw some cards. I really need to hit a land drop in these next couple of draws. That's kind of a land drop if you look at it sideways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just legit discarding. That feels bad. I, in theory, should not need the third Pestilence. Conceptually, I really needed an untapped land that turn, so I could just kind of play this out for tempo reasons. And missing out on that kind of sucks. That's fine. Okay. Now it's just kind of the question of what am I removing and how? I think I'm okay paying some life, snuffing this creature out, Tithing Blade on this, and setting it up so I have an artifact in play that I can sacrifice to this. So we're going to go ahead and pay the life for tempo. Yeah, no, I will absolutely pay the mana that I have. Don't know that I love that play from the opponent. Alright, we do take it out. So we want to hit the land drop here for sure. This is in play, so Witch's Cottage is less good than normal. I could just do Witch's Cottage to try to bait my opponent into cracking that spell bomb and making it so that they don't draw a card. I think I am into that. Would you like to crack your spell bomb? Well, seems like they don't want to crack it. Yeah, I will take that back. Let's go ahead and edict you. And then I will go ahead and refill my hand while a counterspell is not available. We can start doing cool Pestilence Guardian stuff. I've got tendrils to gain some life, assuming a sacrifice effect does not get involved. This game is looking much better than the last one. We are not getting buried by Blood Fountain. It is a huge deal. But my opponent still has a bunch of like active draw twos, so, you know, let's not get too excited here. Relic is cool. Am I fine with tendrils for 6? I do also kind of have to think about like when I am getting this in play. I think I would like to get this in play now. Just take 4 damage and then start using these high CMC things. I'm not sure whether or not this troll is just a creature or a land since I have Pestilence. And then we'll go ahead and get Relic going so that we don't get buried by Blood Fountain as this game starts going very long. I don't know how many outs my opponent has to this creature. Like, I don't know if they have some Tithing Blades or Edicts or whatever. I am not following the format closely enough to know that right now. This is fine. Yep, all these small creatures don't actually matter that much. Yep, that's good. So if I want to do something like play a Pestilence around a counter spell, like the Mana Leak thingy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, I might just Troll Cycle rather than keep this as a threat. Yeah, I think I am into guaranteeing this next land drop. It also just may be more important to fire off Tendrils of Corruption on Mirror Enforcer while black mana isn't up for some of this stuff. We could pick up the Witch's Cottage again and kind of give my opponent that same sort of choice as before. Again, black mana not available right now. So, yeah. Would you like to crack one of these? The answer is no. Just slightly surprising to me. So let's see if we can gain 7 life and nuke this creature from orbit. My opponent is going to Galv Blast their own creature. I'm still getting a 2-for-1 with that. I think I am okay with that trade. So I don't gain the life, but I got an extra card out of my opponent's hand. I'm just going to keep this back defensively. Alright, so now they are going to convert the Spell Bomb into some cards. That's fine. I don't really care about my graveyard with this deck. Like, there's Witch's Cottage and the one random. Do I just want to clear that while that's on the stack? No. It gets weird if a second Blood Fountain gets put on the stack, because you can get into some, like, activate in response sorts of shenanigans. Sure. No attack from Little Frog Friend. Troll is a real threat now. 3, 6, 7, 8. I'm not playing Troll around Metallic Rebuke yet, so I think I am going to go ahead and just attempt a Pestilence here. I think for tempo reasons, I don't actually want to like activate this and attack. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. Like, if I win this game, it's not by inches, it's probably by miles. This just makes indestructible duders. That's annoying. Okay. And they fly, so I'm not great at blocking them. Don't love that. I'll need to, like, edict that out of play. Okay. So let's take some damage. End of turn, I am going to go ahead and do some damage to everything here. Indestructible is rough. The Blood Fountain currently can't be activated. Answering this is a really big deal. I think I am going to go ahead and take the extra card here. Not the biggest fan of Troll as a draw. That destroys. That's not an edict effect. That is not what I need right now. So I need to shift to being the beatdown. I have been playing around things like Metallic Rebuke. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does not resolve. Kind of lucked out in that regard. So I can hit for 8 and then 14. So 8, 14, 14 is kind of my pacing. My Pestilence is just okay. Gal blasts to my face are very scary. Yes. My opponent could nuke my Troll. Yeah? That's happening. Then they'll junk this and essentially trade Shaman for Troll. You've got it. Blood Fountain can return that in a minute. I guess ultimately I'm kind of happy that it went at my creature rather than my face, I think. I'm not really sure that I can use Pestilence to kill this. I'm considering just casting it down to use my mana. think my life is very valuable. And if I take this out of play and then do top deck the Edict, it's quite noticeably good. Negative, I do not. I am scared. I can send in for a couple points of damage, but I don't have much agency right now. I'm going to get buried in draw twos. Great. And now there's two of them, so an Edict is not an out to that anymore. I'm going to be dead to a Galvanic Blast at any point in this game. I guess I can draw something like a Tendrils of Corruption to gain a bunch of life and buy some time. Or I'm just dead now. That's disappointing. GG's. There was an Edict, so I could take one of those out. I still just died the next one. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. All right, round two. I have one land, which is probably not going to cut it for this deck. This is fine. This is too much mana and not enough early business. I'm not excited about this. I don't think I am thrilled to go to 5 in Pauper. I'm going to just hope that I don't get run over in the early turns. And we'll see if some like Ninja of the Deep Hours type stuff just starts immediately running me over. Tendrils is not the worst draw. It's too slow as a removal spell versus this tempo deck. Okay, cool. I'm not just eating a Ninja immediately. That's fantastic. Go ahead and pick up our white mana for the future. The good news here is that hypothetically, if I can resolve a Pestilence, it will potentially be game ending versus the deck with a very large number of X1 creatures. My opponent just clicked through the attack step. Strong. This is going to trade with a card. I don't know what card it's trading with, but it's going to trade with something. Yep, that's fine. Still getting used to this land cycle. I'll hopefully just take one. Cool, no ninjas yet. I've got more cards in hand than my opponent. What am I doing regarding these cards? I am probably just offering up something to a mana leak or equivalent. I think I'm just going to do a Tendrils on their turn at some point in hopes of resolving this on my own turn. I think I will do it in their end step. That's fine. I wonder if that's correct. Like, that's one land drop away from just being a draw 3 in a control matchup. I think I'm going to fire off Tendrils just right now. Sure. Like, the goal is 1-for-1 trades that eventually result in me pulling ahead via something like Pestilence. That's the game plan. Ooh. Witches are good. I think I am just going to take my more mana-efficient play, though, and just play the Guardian of the Guildpact this turn. I can probably Witches and something else in a future turn. This walls the Augur temporarily, and I'll just take one after they play their land. No big deal. I like the part where my opponent does not have a card advantage engine in play. So we're going to go ahead and cast this. My opponent counters it. I can cottage it back to the top of my deck. I'm going to let that resolve. Opponent currently controls 2 fairies. Let's change that and snuff out one of these so that this does not effectively act as a counter spell. That'll do. You win this set of interactions. Then I will bam and bam. I think this is still fast enough and impactful enough. I'm going to hold this back so I don't take one from the Augur. I am still taking some damage in the air here. If this doesn't resolve, I might have to think about Reckoner's bargaining away a creature. I think I will send some chip damage in now that I have another blocker held back. Not the best. Attempt to draw some. I could Reckoner's Bargain just for some life here. I don't think I want to do that. And a Spell Pierce. I also just really want this creature in play if Pestilence is a thing that I end up drawing. I'm gonna go ahead and pass turn. I'm considering upkeep. Do this. I'm not going to. Sure. Alright, tapped land. I take some damage. I'm gonna try to hold out on this. That's real bad. I think I'm gonna let that resolve. I think if I miss on my draw step, I Reckoner's Bargain on my own turn. That's not really enough here. I'm gonna go ahead and fire on in and attempt to Reckoner's Bargain. 16. Just gain 4 life here. There is a Pestilence. That is fantastic. And it's going to resolve. I'm fine just activating for 1 right now, I think. So now the counter spells are good from my opponent. Larger creatures are good. Alright, so there's an actual factual counter spell. I am at 9. I don't think this is good enough to get the counter spell. I am correct. This is good enough to get the counter spell. Yep. So now I will take maybe 1 or 2 damage in the next turn cycle. No. Oh, that's rough. I feel like we've just had worse card advantage than both of the decks that I have played against thus far. Sure. Sure. I might have to just deal 5 to clear all this stuff. Like, I'm at 8 with 1 card in hand. My opponent has 3 creatures on board. Please resolve. A Dispel beats this. Oh, yes. Now I have a lot of time. I can leave this Augur of Bolas in play and Pestilence the other stuff out of play. This is fine. Actual counterspell, alright. I'm going to go ahead and nuke the fairy immediately. I'll take the hit from these for right now until my life total's a little bit lower. Okay. It might not look like it, but this is an okay counterspell target because of my Reckoner's Bargain. Yeah, and they are just going to immediately take that trade, which is cool. It means my more impactful stuff later is more likely to resolve. That's a disaster. So now do I want to take 3 to clear this board? I have so few creatures in my deck. I don't think so. I think I'm going to try to draw a pro-white creature. Sure feels like I'm going to die. I don't really want to concede because I might just be wrong. If I don't Pestilence now, it kind of costs me 6 life to do so. The 3 from the combat damage, the 3 from the Pestilence activation. So I think I am going to begrudgingly offer up my Pestilence. And I lose the Pestilence unless my opponent accidentally plays out another creature and they just like miss that interaction. Yep, I like the part where I still have a Pestilence. Like that a lot. I'm going to go ahead and plan on snuffing this out on my own turn for mana. Maybe in their upkeep might be better. But I am just falling behind due to the Monarch. Like my Pestilence is very strong. Yeah. Cool. I don't need to necessarily remove that immediately with Pestilence. It's probably happening. This in theory blocks that card. I haven't really given my opponent very many removal targets though, so like that's a thing. So I will now Reckoner's Bargain and sacrifice this. Yeah. I think I am going to just kill this creature and hope my opponent makes the same mistake that they made before. They may or may not still have a creature. Okay, yeah. Never didn't have it. No flash creature, end of turn. Sure, they can return the Bojuka Bog for a little bit of value. I am just going to drown in cards here. This is a sorcery. I think I let my opponent Bojuka Bog and then leave this in my graveyard. Still no flash creatures. Alright, goodbye graveyard. Sure. Suffocating Fumes. Yeah, they're just going to cycle that. Sure. Sure. Monarch nonsense is rough. So I think I am a burn deck right now. I think I Siphon Life, Retrace, Siphon Life, discarding this land, and then attempt to resolve a Pestilence and just burn my opponent out. I think I play around Spell Pierce so I don't jam one of these right now. But I think conceptually this is how I win. My opponent has 7 cards in hand, soon to be an 8th from the Monarch. So life's not great. I'm probably not close enough to decking my opponent that is realistic. Reckoner's Bargain is not super strong in this deck. Alright, actual factual counter spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I think I'm okay to jam here. But we're in play. Hell yeah. So if I untap with Pestilence, I win. My opponent could kill both of their own creatures. That's a way that they could wiggle through here. 2 damage. Yeah, you can draw your card. I'll just do this all on my turn in case there's some weird thing that I am not thinking of. Yeah, let's try to burn my opponent out. 2, 3, 4, 5. I literally don't believe that I won that game. I think my opponent punted. I do not believe that I should have won. When my opponent played that extra ninja and didn't force me to lose my Pestilence, I think that is the moment where I won that game. So, I like the Edict, I like the Pinger, I like the Suffocating Fumes, I like the additional Pestilence. Snuff Out is not the worst. My Reckoner's Bargains got stuck in my hand very badly. Relic is also a thing for Gurmag's Angler, but I kind of just feel like I'm already bringing in a lot of stuff. I think I need my own Thorns to take Monarch back. Don't think I can cut any creatures. I think I'm getting rid of Reckoner's Bargains and the Wellsprings. Like, these gain me life. I'm going to keep that. I think this is how I am approaching this one. Prior to seeing Siphon Life in action, I would have boarded it out, but it was quite good. This has 2 land drops. It has relevant cards for the matchup. I'm going to keep. I maybe don't get to get my white mana immediately. I think I need to be able to play one of these cards, or rather one of these cards on turn 2, depending on what my opponent's turn looks like. I draw an untapped land, you know, it's a little different. And an Augur. My opponent just missed on their Augur trigger. Yep. I guess that's going to happen sometimes. I am just going to take an untapped land here. And I think resolve Witches immediately. Like, this blocks Augur. It keeps Ninja of the Deep Hours from getting in immediately. That sounds good. If my opponent uses removal on it, you know, that's more mana that's available. Less mana they have available on my turn to interact with my stuff. Block. 100% block. Okay, I am very happy to see an extra land drop here. I think I have to keep going for untapped lands. Maybe that's not true, but I would quite like to, like, use my mana each turn. Agony Warp. Yeah, sure. I'll probably plan on an end of turn cast down on Augur of Bolas. Although maybe I should just do it now, keep the board clear, make Tithing Blade better, never have this get spell pierced. I think with multiple edicts, that's fine. Okay, cool, just a land drop. I'm going to presume that this gets countered, just for the sake of my opponent using mana. Do you just have 2? Okay, yeah, they just have 2 of these. That's fine. Pestilence looking really good. We just want to avoid, like, 5th land drop Lorien Revealed or Ninja of the Deep Hours right here. We do not dodge. Okay, my opponent left up blue. They might have an actual factual counterspell for me, which I do not love seeing. All right, I imagine this gets countered. Like, it's just free. Yep. My goal here is get those counter spells out of my opponent's hand so that I can safely resolve Pestilence and take out a large number of creatures at once. I'm taking 4 here. I'm under the gun. I would love an untapped land drop. I think that matters a decent amount. Sure. Oh, Dispel. Okay, let's keep that one on my radar. All right, there's an untapped land. We're going to shove here. Counterspell is available. Counterspell is available. I'm going to take 5, and then I have a chance at another Pestilence. But I think if Pestilence doesn't resolve, I am effectively dead. Maybe not literally dead, but effectively dead. If there's yet another Spell Stutter Sprite, this is now going to be 4 fairies to counter this. I'm going to do this. I will choose a creature and then say no on this. All right. 4 mana. I'm playing around Spell Pierce. Dispel doesn't hit this. It is another counter spell. I take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. Not good. I'm going to play this for the sake of reducing that amount of damage by 1. It just gets... So from my perspective, Augur of Bolas is better than a random 1/1, unless they just have another sprite. Because Augur of Bolas is 3 toughness, and I can't kill a 3 toughness thing with a Pestilence that's played out. I'll do this in my opponent's upkeep, try to kill these 1/1 creatures. I'm not super hopeful that that is actually going to happen. Because, you know, actually, I know that's not going to happen, so I am effectively dead on board. Okay. Do I want to make any adjustments here? I could play one more Snuff Out if I want one more removal spell. I'm not really sure that I have things that I want to cut, though. I am worried that this hand is just too slow. But I don't know that I want to throw back the double Pestilence hand against the deck that, like, Pestilence is maybe best against, and I think I am just going to hope that I top deck some reasonable card to play on my turn 2 or my turn 3. And it picks up a Preordain. Negative, we are mono 4-drop control over here. So now we're in this weird position where if my opponent puts in a ninja, I'm not the happiest camper. Yep. So when I kept the hand, I knew that if I did not draw a 2 or 3 drop, like a play for turn 2 or turn 3, that I was going to feel behind. Hopefully this is just resolving, though, and is hard to take out, and then bricks this ninja moving forward. I think if that happens, this stuff will win me the game. Ooh, Tendril's not bad, but we are very, very, very heavy on the 4 drops right now. I think I am most interested in resolving this creature. You know, it's got to be some sort of edict that takes this out rather than a generic removal spell. That's fine. Also fine. This means that my opponent has tapped out, so whatever play I take on my turn does just resolve. So I am always doing this for an untapped land. That's for sure. I don't think I play Thorn here. I think if I play Thorn and my opponent becomes the Monarch, the rest of the game becomes awkward. Like, Thorn into Thorn is not bad, but I think this is just my opportunity to do this around counterspells. Now I just have this available for the rest of the game. I think this game was about wiggling for position to resolve 4 drops, and I lucked out, and against the tempo deck, I did resolve 2 4 drops in a row. Yeah, this is fine. Counterspell. Sure. So we will block the thing that draws cards. My opponent's just going to use this as a way to push 1 point of damage, which is fine with me. Tendrils is an instant, which is cool. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not using this troll. I think I'm just going to take a ETB tapped land out of the deck here. Probably just call it a turn. I don't think I need to be attacking right now. Like, I am perfectly fine with just block, deal 1 damage to kill an Augur of Bolas, and just kind of hold up this Pestilence so my opponent is unlikely to play out future creatures. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to activate more than that. I think that's fine. It's a little awkward playing out witches into active augur, but I don't think I mind. And by that, I mean another 3 toughness creature. Alright, so there's cracking the relic. This makes my opponent's own, like, Garmeg Anglers harder. But a +1/+1 counter and a lifelink counter on target creature. Cool. I still block that with Guardian. That's fine. Okay, would I like to fire off Tendrils here to drop counterspell so I can play Thorn of the Black Rose? I think so. Like, I'm doing this fully not expecting this to resolve. Ooh, it is a Dispel instead. We did not successfully get through Counterspell. I just want to trade evenly with Counterspell and then do it again next turn. I think that's fine. Yeah? Sure. My opponent presumably has a decent number of dead or awkward cards in hand. That's fine. This just means that my Thorn of the Black Rose always resolves, which is kind of huge. Oh, that means both of these things resolve. That's great. So I am the pretty princess. You lose your creature that you invested extra resources into. Opponent's not playing haste creatures, so this is a perfectly fine attack. Now I am drawing cards. I've got another one in case they just play one. Fantastic. I guess if they just play one, I attack. Okay, yeah, no, that's a valid removal spell. So exile this. For a creature card in your graveyard, return it transformed for 5 mana. Sure. So let's attempt witches. Actual counter spell. Now a flash creature isn't likely to happen. So another creature you control or from your graveyard. We'll exile a witches. Now at the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent loses a life and I gain a life. I don't have to worry about haste creatures, so I can go ahead and bash in for 1 point of damage. Fantastic. I suppose I could play out another creature to just make it less likely that I lose my Pestilence to a random removal spell. So let's play some witches. It's in play. I don't think I use any more mana from here. I think with 5 mana available for Pestilence, I'm okay attacking with this creature as well. 14. Monarch is cracked. Opponent makes no plays. That's fine. So this means that I will lose this Pestilence. I have another, so I think that's fine. I am also still the Monarch. But I think at the end step, I think it's okay to just deal 5 to both of us. So I'll just kind of take that damage. I do still have my fun little flip. What is this? My crafted artifact. So let's make some bread. Honestly, I think I'm fine just drawing that. I'm going to play that. I'm going to put a creature into play. Play some more bread. I don't think I need that one. I'll put that one on bottom. Alright, so I've got 2 removal spells, not counting Pestilence. Graveyard's gone, no big deal. I've seen I've seen 2 actual factual counter spells so far. None of this removal is instant speed. Do I attack? Maybe I attack. See if my opponent responds to this. Every point of life matters here. Opponent's at 6. I feel really awkward about playing Pestilence, but it's the thing that keeps me from losing the Monarch the highest portion of the time. Alright, so there's an actual factual counter spell. I'll play some bread again. I would like to look for an instant speed removal spell. Beautiful. Then I'll pass the turn, and I can attempt to answer an end of turn creature that would poke me. We'll attempt to do this with cast down, and we'll see if we eat a dispel. We do not, which is a little lucky. What is this? Birds? Birds are fine. I'll drain my opponent. This is an instant. Cool. So let's attempt an edict. Sure. So now that on the stack will suffocating fumes that bird away, and then tithing blade. Sorry. Then the next one of these can go and actually take out the mystic itself. I'll hit my opponent for 1. Being the Monarch is disgusting. This doesn't have any special text right now. Brainstorm is fine. Things that don't impact the board that my opponent has to spend mana on are largely good for me. Is that it? Sweet. Drain continues to happen. Attempt to kill this creature. We have gotten the GGs from the opponent. That was a hell of a grind. All right, round 3, solid opening hand. We've got lands working towards tendrils being good. We have a play for turn 2. I would like to find something to do on turn 3 to bridge me to tendrils. Not sure exactly what this indicates. Maybe some sort of blink deck, maybe a, was it Basilisk Gate? Question mark, I think is the name of the gate that you can activate to give people additional power for the number of gates you control or something like that. Hey, yeah, there it is. The Modern Age. Loot. 2/3 flyer. Okay, got it. I guess I am just taking my redraws now and playing my tapped land. I guess conceptually I would like to use sorcery speed removal when I can. Instant speed removal ends up being more valuable. I guess maybe I have to worry about what's the white guy that I play? Is it Guardian of the Guildpact? Whatever it's called, I maybe have to worry about something like that just can dodge some amount of my innate protection. Sorry, with its protection can dodge some amount of my removal. This is a control deck's nightmare. So my opponent has more copies of Squadron Hawk, and I can try to power through them. And anytime I don't, my opponent can just whack me with these. I think I am interested in some bread here. I'm going to need this sort of card for sure. I'm going to pass the turn. If my opponent funnels mana into Basilisk Gate, I will probably cast down the Squadron Hawk. Otherwise, I'll just use a removal spell on this Vector Glider over here. No blocks. Yeah, I'll take that damage. End of turn cast down. A-okay with counterspell happening. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 mana. I think I'm going to just like keep playing bread looking for Pestilence. I'm going to need to find and resolve a Pestilence, I think, in order to win this game. I think that's how I'm going to beat the giant pile of Squadron Hawks. Snuff Out is not bad. I think I'm just going to pass the turn and take actions on my opponent's turn from here. The cantrips are fine. This is +X/+X. Oh, this can only be activated at sorcery speed. I think I'm going to Snuff Out paying the life on this one. That's fine. And then we will attempt to cast it down. And all I am trying to do here is make my opponent expend resources so I gain a whole bunch with tendrils while hopefully clearing the board. And if my opponent like plays out another Squadron Hawk here, what is this? When it dies, draw a card. Sure. Yeah. I would like to now fish for Pestilence. I get 3 looks at it. I found it and it resolves, which is great. I do take a lot if I tap out, huh? Hopefully that's fine with tendrils. Like I could Reckoner's Bargain to try to go deeper for an instant speed removal spell. Basilisk Gate is real cute with a lifelinker. Yep. I'll take this. Yeah, this is fine. So now I can safely kill these creatures or safely Tendrils of Corruption one of these creatures if I would like. Tapped land out of the way. I think I'm just going to Tendrils the thing with the bigger booty, even though it gives my opponent a card. You can have that card. And now I am in good shape. My opponent loots through another Basilisk Gate. They get worse once I have Pestilence. I'm going to intend on leaving this 1/1 in play for another turn, I think. My opponent activates Basilisk Gate. They probably force my hand. Yeah. I will go ahead and just like do this to stabilize the board. and then like I can untap and play a troll. And I think I'm okay with that. I maybe could have wiggled this a little bit better. Can I just play witches instead of troll? I think I can. So let's just junk the Wellspring and just kind of really go up on cards here. Ooh. Counterspell is in theory a thing, but that was a very good counterspell target, so I think whatever I play is resolving. I think I want the witches. There's still a couple Squadron Hawks left over there. Have I played a land? No? I will top that. I'll just go ahead and take that, play Reckoner's Bargain on bread. Nice. Now I play something that can ping the Hawks. I'll need to find a removal spell for this. Sure, that's fine. I think that Brainstorm should have been cast earlier in my turn to look for a Dispel for Reckoner's Bargain. Journey to Nowhere. We're gone. More copies of the Modern Age. Getting looted away now. Sure. I'm going to pop that out so I don't forget about that. And there is a Squadron Hawk. Definitely a little scared of Basilisk Gate right now. Flashback is tap an untapped white creature you control. So I do 4 for Pestilence. I have 5 mana remaining. It has 7 gates. I can take just Pestilence as a 2-for-1. There's another Modern Age coming. I think I'm more interested in this. So yeah, I resolve both. I guess I can wait, because if they attack with the Hawk, then Strands is not active. So I think I am going to have kind of a bad turn here, as my opponent punches me for a billion-D. And then I hope that I'm stable. I don't know, maybe I needed to remove both of these because there's 2 Basilisk Gates. Got Siphon Life. Ooh, that is certainly going to destroy my enchantment. Yeah, you got it. I should have responded with this on the stack. That's a mistake on my end. I take 1 more point of damage. My opponent can now tap this. Yep. Apply your damage replacement effects. Click on the shield to prevent damage to players. Click OK to automatically choose. OK to automatically choose. Alright, so I take an extra point of damage here than what I needed to. Sure. Just another Pestilence off the top ropes would be cool. Cast down's not bad. That lets me hit one of the things. Or gate. Another one just gets through, so I'm going to take like 8-ish damage in the air. So let's start gaining some life. Call it a turn. I'm holding up cast down for one of these creatures and cracking multiple copies of these to gain life. More creatures are coming. I feel like I might have punted this game, unfortunately. Yes, that happens. Alright, so my opponent has dropped Prismatic Strands. That's great for me. Let's attempt to cast down the big creature. It feels like this is Counterspell. Otherwise, I feel like the other gate should have been activated. Cool. I'll block the life linker here, so they don't actually gain life. I'll just take 2. My opponent did not leave an untapped white creature for a top-decked Pestilence. They also did not play out this. Push an extra point of damage. Yeah, if I top-deck a Pestilence, I'm just going to win. So I'm going to shuffle these back in, which I guess technically decreases the chances of me drawing Pestilence immediately, but like these have a scry and draw attached, so I think that's fine. It also just maybe keeps me alive another turn if I do miss. So now we have to kind of hope that my opponent plays scared. If they activate Basilisk Gate on 2 different flyers, I'm just done for. So there's the first one. There's the second one. So I am dead in the air. That'll do. I had some wiggle room there. I don't think either of us played super well. So I've got Witches for small flyers. I've got Edicts, Suffocating Fumes, Snuff Out, additional Pestilence. I'm probably not interested in any of this stuff. I don't have any sort of fun sinkhole effect that can just blow up lands. The issue is that some of this stuff doesn't actually take out the like X3 creatures that are over there. I don't know how much of this stuff I want to go up. I want every piece of removal that can probably be used at instant speed. How important is this Siphon Life? I'm still getting a feel for that. It feels like Thorn of the Black Rose either wins me or loses me the game. I might need this card advantage. I think I have time to do the Reckoner's Bargain, Wellspring stuff. I'm not sure how to board. I think this is going for my next Pestilence. Can I get away with not playing Trolls, just mathematically speaking? Probably not. I think they're too important to getting these. I have so few white sources. I think I'm going to turn a Tithing Blade into a Snuff Out. Witches are good against Hawks. I don't know that I want to overload on them. I'm going to hit the submit button, but I am very unsure about my sideboarding here. This is fine. We're just going to play a land and pass. Hope our opponent does the same. It seems like their deck is a little slow to get off the ground. I am going to go ahead and just play this out. Try to get like virtual card advantage by invalidating Squadron Hawk as a turn 2 play for my opponent. This might just eat a Journey to Nowhere or something. It's fine. I just block that in the short term. We're gonna play some bread. I have too many lands as is. We'll do end of turn cycle for my white mana. Yeah, this is fine and not unexpected. I could ping us both on the way out. I don't think I'm interested in that. I don't think that favors me when my opponent has the lifelinker in play. There's not another land drop. That is actively great for me. Pick up white mana. It's not an untapped white source, unfortunately. So that means I probably do something else with my turn. So goodbye, bread. Snuff Out's okay. I don't think I am just interested in snuffing this out as a 1/3 when I am about to just play Guardian of the Guildpact and kind of deal with it that way. I also don't want to have my opponent draw cards when they are somewhat bottlenecked on mana. Since I have 2 of these, I am okay trading 1 for a potential counterspell. Yep, that's fine. I have more raw cards than my opponent, so I'm fine with the 1-for-1 trade. If I had anything else to do with my mana reasonably, I would just wait that out. That's fine. Yep, opponent's still bottlenecked on mana. So let's resolve our protection from white creature. Call it a turn. We've got the flyer covered via Snuff Out. My Reckoner's Bargain is not doing a ton right now. Not expecting Guardian of the Guildpact to die. I mean, I could be wrong. It could happen. The gate doesn't matter yet. It will. I'm not currently set up to beat the Hawks. My opponent does take all of them immediately. Yeah, I'll block. You don't gain any life there due to the protection. Troll. I guess I'm the beatdown now. I still kind of need to leave back my protection creature. My opponent plays a gate. This is +4, and then can attack into my troll, so I don't think I want to make an attack this turn. This is a duder. Snuff Out is spell pierceable if that's a card my opponent plays. Sure. I'm glad they're getting rid of Hawks. I'm not good against them right now. Yeah, I'll take 1 in the air. That's fine. Now we've got a brainstorm. And the gate count increases again. Sure. Bread's good. Like, bread lets me Reckoner's Bargain. Sure. That's probably above average. Keep rattling these off. Do I want to play an untapped land to play around Spell Pierce on this card? Yeah, because it also lets me play around Spell Pierce on Snuff Out later. I'll say no to that. Yeah. So we'll crash in with the troll. Pestilence, obviously very, very good. I've got my Guardian in play already. My opponent can untap, kind of loot, hold up a counterspell. I might need to like bait a counterspell out before I can resolve Pestilence. Yeah, we are very modern despite playing Pauper. That's good. I think I'm going to attempt to bait a counterspell and kill the first one of these. Success, although it's not a counterspell that would have hit Pestilence, to be fair. I'll take some damage. I'll regain that immediately via bread. Go back up to 16. Awkward. I don't know that I can afford to live in fear here. Oh shit, we're in play. My opponent might Prismatic Strands to fog this attack, but it seems like it's more important defensively to protect their creatures. I think this is fine. I think I'm just clearing the board. I am ahead on life. I have a Reckoner's Bargain as well. Maybe should have attacked with this then. So yeah. 1, 2, 3. My opponent strands. I respond. Activate again. All right, fantastic. Now if I untap, I just Pestilence my opponent to death, not counting the attack step. I will attack rather than do anything else, though. Ooh, sure. I am interested in dealing 1 damage to both of us, I think. So I lose the Pestilence. I have theoretical lethal on board. Okay, that can now block Troll. Let's see if we can turn this into a lethal turn. Witch's Cottage. That's a fine card. I'm going to try to do better. Like, let's try to just end this game. A removal spell will do that. So show me a counterspell. Negative. Now this can't be blocked. This is 8 incoming damage. Show me other interaction. You did not. So my opponent isn't valuing their Squadron Hawks super highly. I'm definitely scared of them, but they're maybe scared of like witches and is it suffocating fumes? Still have no idea if I've boarded correctly. I mean, the answer is probably no. All right, I've got a slow opening hand with good cards. And hopefully I draw a play for turn 2 or turn 3 to kind of help out with that, and I did. So we've got good stuff. Using a Tithing Blade on that is incredibly awkward. I maybe still am just doing it for mana efficiency reasons, but I hate it. Like, the Embalm means that my opponent can just, like, make a token copy of it, probably without missing a beat. Okay, and they do. But that's their turn. And I am perfectly okay with that. So if my opponent is choked on mana here, I probably just win this game by resolving Guardian of the Guildpact on my next turn. It doesn't literally end the game immediately, but this is incredibly powerful. Like, I do this to clog up the board, and then some number of Pestilence and Thorn just take over the game. And my opponent is likely not going to be in a position where they can just counterspell a Pestilence. Yep. So, jam? I'll go ahead and try to kill this immediately. You can strands it if you'd like. You would like. This is why I did this prior to the attack, so that I know whether or not I need to kind of leave this chilling in play. And now, like, we can clean up the cat pretty easily. Got Thorn coming. I've got Pestilence right here. I can bring back my creatures if they end up trading in combat. I guess attempt 1 damage. Get this out. Nope, opponent leaves it. I don't think I have to worry about flash creatures from this deck. And I am very much the beatdown right now. 18. Yeah, it just feels like my opponent kept a clunky opening hand and probably just instantly lost because of it. Like, they had 2 lands and a first play that might have been enough to make their hand a keep. I can't tell from this side of the battlefield. Yeah, no, the journey is fine. I don't need this creature. I actively have another one. I actively have 2 more of them, in fact. So play another. Still the Monarch. Do this. think I can go ahead and do this as well. In case things get weird, I think I'm just going to take that. It does not do anything right now, but it seems fine. Like, since I am just drawing extra cards with the Monarch anyway, I think I am doing okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think since I am currently the aggressor, I am also okay just activating this or burn. It's a little weird with the snuff out in my hand, but I think I am good with it. Yeah. 12. Yeah, I think so. It also just kind of feels like I could click on my cards in a random order and probably win this game, though. Like, I can just deal 8 points of burn with Pestilence, or I guess 9 points of burn with Pestilence. What is this? Make treasure. Got it. You like to draw 3 cards? You would like to draw 3 cards. That's totally fine. So I'm going to hit my opponent twice with this. They don't have a creature for Prismatic Strands. I'll let them discard 2 cards, and then I will kill them. Yep, GG's. Okay, this is a weird one. So I have an ETB tapped land, which means I'm not doing anything on turn 2. I'm just, like, getting mana. I am not sure if that is fine. I don't have early removal. I am going to try to keep this and just hope that I don't get run over. My late game is good. And I've kept a lot of hands anyway, kind of hoping for a turn 2 or turn 3 play to happen, so maybe this is just fine. All right. We're playing against something in the general affinity ballpark, and I think I am going to get and play white mana this turn rather than play swamp and cycle both trolls immediately. So do I dodge creatures coming into play immediately? There's our friend Blood Fountain, ready to party, and a Frogmite. So conceptually, I think my plan is kill Frogmite, get a basic swamp, play Thorn, and try to ride that source of card advantage. I am just going to physically decrease the number of artifacts my opponent has in play to tax Thoughtcast and friends. Galblast my face. No, blood token. Sure. I am hoping to avoid a creature being in play at the end of this turn. I'm pretty comfortable playing out Thorn if there's no creature in play. There's a creature in play, which makes my decision tougher. I'm still just always going to get an untapped basic land here. I'm going to leave the Witch's Cottage for a little bit later. Don't Galvblast me, is I think where we're at. If I could draw Snuff out, that would be cool. Negative. So Galvblast, remove this, attack for 4 is a disaster. Most other things I'm okay with. Fuck. Yeah. This is what I did not want to see. I can become the Monarch again immediately, but I can't, like, become the Monarch while also clearing the board, which is the problem. So this sort of scenario is why I left Witch's Cottage in the deck. So I can Witch's Cottage, put another Thorn back on top of my deck, hit yes, play a Thorn, and, like, Death Touch a Mirror Enforcer into just, like, play another one and take back take back Monarch. Oh, that's so many cards. Again, Galvblast is the worst card. There it is. Thank you, Galvblast. Right on time. So, this turn is slightly better. So this time, I take Monarch back, and I at least take out a creature at the same time. I get to take out the Frogmite. For the 3rd turn in a row, it is still Galvanic Blast that is the scariest card for me. Did not draw Snuff out. Oh, okay. I saw the red mana being tapped, and I was like, fuck no, please. So something requires some thought now. Okay. There's more red mana. Galvblast could happen still. It feels like this is going to be some sort of, like, Reckoner's Bar. Oh, it's Gurmag Angler. Sure. Obviously, will take my trades when I can get them. I'm going to have a decent number of looks at a removal spell for this. There's a removal spell. Fantastic. I think I am going to attempt this immediately. I think some portion of the time it just gets countered. Negative. Okay, cool. I am going to then play this. This could eat Metallic Rebuke, I guess. It didn't. Okay, why are we doing this now? Sure. So there's not black mana in play for Blood Fountain, which is really good for me. My Guardian of the Guildpact is kind of mid. I have Siphon Life that can gain me some life if we end up in sort of a Pestilence Matters situation. Otherwise, we're going to try to just keep removing creatures as they come into play. And I think my land drops matter more than Siphon Life stuff here. Witches? Witches matter for this, but I'm not, like, the most excited about them. That's a more exciting card. I go ahead and do my attack for 2, and then probably at my opponent's end step, I will use a Reckoner's Bargain on something. Snuff Out is fine. Doesn't hit Gurmag Angler. By Reckoner's Bargain, I'm not exactly sure what I get rid of. What is this? Enters the battlefield or is put in a graveyard from play. You draw a card and lose a life. Okay, so it's another Wellspring. Got it. I think since I'm not sure yet, I'm going to go ahead and just gain life right now. Back to 13. Yeah, I think I'm still fine just making land drops here. Just do our chip damage. Play out another one of these. Pass the turn with some mana available. My opponent has a whole lot of cards. Yep. Deadly Dispute, sure. Yes. I think I'm probably going to try to hardcast Snuff Out with mana on my own turn. Blood Fountain now coming into play. Nope, that's fine. The opponent has 7 cards in hand. I'm going to fire one of these off on a Tithing Blade. All right, there's a Metallic Rebuke. That's fine. Let's cast this with mana. I think that's okay as far as tempo is concerned. I might just be crafting this with the remainder of my turn. Just kind of hold down the fort and a troll away. I think I'll just hold both back. The disaster case is me, like, no longer being the Monarch, so I think I just want to avoid that. Tendrils is pretty insane, assuming that my opponent taps out or close to it. To Blood Fountain back to Mirror Enforcers, or like a Mirror Enforcer and a Gurmag Angler. This is fine. Blue mana is not available. I guess they could Galv Blast their own Mirror Enforcer. That's something that I've seen before. Third land drop, or third untapped mana. That's fine. I don't think single untapped black takes out my stuff, or like stops tendrils from working. Cool. Oh, that's insane. So it costs me 8 to clear the board, which I do have. So yeah. I don't even know if I clear the board though. No, double Gout Blast doesn't kill me. This is fine. So 4 activations later, board is clear. I attack for 4. I think I've got this one. I guess I should not. F6. In case a shaman or something hits play that I need to answer. Yep, so multiple Mirror Enforcers, totally fine. Got Tendrils, Siphon Life, Tithing Blade. We have so many resources here. I can also just, like, activate Pestilence a whole bunch of times and kill my opponent. That gets a little scarier with, like, Gal Blasts and stuff. Let's start here. Do this around the soft counterspell. And then if this gets countered, I still have 2 counterspells to swing and Pestilence for lethal. Ah, right. I'm going to use my sorcery speed removal spell. Don't get the immediate life gain. Don't know that that matters. Send in for 4. Opponent's at 9. I'll siphon life, gain just a tiny bit of life. And then I untap with Pestilence and my opponent dies. That's the plan. Would you discard just a land? Sure. Matchup feels very different when I just, like, draw an extra card for 8 turns in a row. Okay, so my opponent can continue to Mirror Enforcer. With Pestilence around, it doesn't matter as much. So I think they're just kind of spinning their wheels. You got it. Sure. Like, I don't actually know what gets my opponent out of this spot. Ping you. Like, they are at the point where they are actively discarding cards. So, let's just do this 5 times. Okay, cool. Okay, I guess they could, like, Reckoner's Bargain again, but, you know, I don't know that that puts them in a good spot. Notably, my opponent still drew more cards than I did. Like, their whole Thoughtcast Reckoner's Bargain engine goes pretty damn hard. So I know that I need Relic of Progenitus for Blood Fountain. Revoke Existence is fine. Snuff Out, Pestilence, Edict are fine. These are going to be the things that I'm thinking about. The Witches don't seem great. The Guardians are not the best. I might still need them for my Pestilences. Siphon Life is probably expendable. The Reckoner's Bargain side of the deck is slow. And I don't know that I can afford to draw this as a dead card against my opponent's aggressive starts. If I do that, then the Wellsprings should probably go. Getting rid of Reckoner's Bargain and Siphon Life at the same time does make the Pestilences worse at, like, clearing 4/4s. Maybe I can't board this way. I'm going to keep the Siphon Life and keep one of these. Maybe I am wrong about Guardian of the Guildpact, and that is cuttable. Yeah, early removal spell, slightly less early removal spell. This is fine. I have the ability to become the Pretty Pretty Princess as well. I'm perfectly happy with that. And I'm just hoping that my opponent has a bit of a slow start. Like, there's a lot of ETB tapped lands in that deck. Yeah, and a lot of things like this that just don't immediately impact the board. This is fine. Don't have access to white mana yet. My opponent doesn't have any creatures yet. I am not using my mana if my opponent does not play out creatures. I did get my white mana, though, so that is fantastic. Yeah, you can do your draw 3 here. Sure. Sure. Yes. I guess Metallic Rebuke is technically on if I just try to slam something like Thorn. That said, I think I'm good with trying, because I just have Witch's Cottage to try again later if this does not work. Okay, it does work. So this is one of the things that I think I need to do if I am going to, like, very realistically win this game. Because, like, my opponent is 7 cards deeper than I am already. So I think I need something like this to keep up. Yep. Yep. Sure. Right. That's theoretically fine as long as my removal spells actually resolve. Again, if this treasure token is representing a counterspell, things get a little scarier for me. Guess we're just playing this out now. So let's attempt to cast down Gurmag Angler. Okay, it is a counterspell. Oh no, it's a Reckoner's Bargain. That's, I think, in theory, fine. So now the question is, like, do I want to double Edict or Edict Snuff Out? Oh, I guess I have 3 lands in play, so I guess that answers that. Why don't you sack a creature? I don't really want my opponent to untap and be able to counterspell this. I never want that Frogmite to get in next turn. Literally never. This also lets me push 1 point of damage, which is not the most relevant thing in the world, but, you know. This is kind of insane. Sure. Still 9 cards in hand. Oh, just going at my face, not even attacking the Thorn here. Sure. Holy shit. Are you fucking kidding me? I am actively upset. I am actively upset. What the fuck? We're board in Reckoner's Bargain, so when my opponent draws all 4 of their Galvanic Blasts, I have an out to that. Tilt. I'm whacking the submit button. Turn 1, turn 2, Troll Cycle, get white mana. Turn 3, have Chainer's Edict. This is, I guess, fine. Like, I have the 3 cards that I think are central to my long-term game plan for beating this deck. So we'll just make our land drop, call it a turn, and see what happens. Sure. Let's get our white mana and get that taken care of. And then opponent is filtering for white. Oh, sure, it's just a random color. That's fine. So I'm doing 1 mana to do this. We'll start chipping away at the graveyard there. I think I am just going to take an ETB tapped land out of my deck. Call it a turn. If my opponent does not play a creature this turn, I feel very good about this game. If they do play a creature this turn, I have to slow down a little bit. Counterspell is available. Sure, multiple creatures. Let's just try to resolve my blocker. Fantastic. That makes the future Pestilence better. That makes the future Thorn of the Black Rose better. But I imagine my opponent is just going to like rip through some draw threes and end up 10 cards deeper or so than I will over the course of the next 2 or 3 turns. I'm really only scared of their blue mana, oddly. Like, this treasure token is more threatening than the other stuff on their board. Provoke Existence is a weird draw. I guess first things first. I don't want to just keep hitting land drops here. I don't know that I get to say no to that draw. Then I think I'll just hang out. Just like missing my land drops here. Every time I miss a land drop, it is just making my Pestilence worse. Yep. That's fine. And I think I just have to play a removal spell into a counterspell here. I guess my opponent could then just like return it for less value. Maybe I don't. Let's just do this instead. Cool. Land drop is great. Counterspells are online. Attempt to just exile this bad boy. How much does this activate? 4 to activate. So my opponent has 1, 2, 3 currently. So before there's more stuff in graveyard, let's just get rid of that. Ah, okay. That'll do. My Revoke Existence now doesn't really do anything. I'll switch phases here. My opponent is going to attempt to crack Blood Fountain. Given that I want to be hitting more land drops anyway, I'm okay with this exchange. Did not successfully hit more land drops. I'll go ahead and edict my opponent here. And I just haven't managed to find time to stick Thorn of the Black Rose, which is what I need to keep up with my opponent's card advantage. Like, they are 6 cards deeper than me, and they got a few more deeper by the time I finished that sentence. This is not going well. Sure. I probably need to do the thing that allows me to play multiple spells. So, sorcery speed thing, I'll leave up a cast down for my opponent's turn. But I am just like not successfully stabilizing this board and then getting to play Thorn. It may be that things are okay if I keep hitting land drops because I can just like Pestilence clear all this stuff out. I'm not feeling great about it as of now. So attempt cast down. My opponent has like a Reckoner's Bargain. They've got a Dispel, sure. So I take 8. And there's another land drop. And a Gurmag Angler. So is this like a Dispel or other counter spell? It matters a lot. Regular Swamp. Play. Attempt Tendrils for 6 life. Yep. So assuming that my opponent attacks with everything, I block Gurmag Angler, I take 10 damage. I am at 5. My Pestilence at that point is quite bad. Like, my opponent is 12 cards deeper than I am because I never have had like a time to play Thorn where it was reasonably safe. I guess I could have tried to force it. Sure. Yeah. This is kind of insane. Yep. No, I'm just gonna die because my opponent got that deep in their deck. GG's. Okay, I don't really have enough mana to make this hand work. I still really don't have enough mana to make this one work. I'm gonna try to get by without the witches in the early game since I just have 2 removal spells and see where this goes. Feels aggressive. So I have some early removal spells. That's the good news. I have some life gain here, but I might just be facing down a whole bunch of goblins very quickly. And my edict effects kind of just get the worse creature. Oh, my opponent has 1 land. That means that these are relevant spells. I think we are going to go ahead and just immediately cast down the creature with 2 power. I'm hoping my opponent doesn't do the thingy that makes 3 goblins by sacrificing an artifact. What is it? Kuldotha Rebirth. My Tithing Blade is quite bad against that if that happens. Alright, Synthesizer is happening. I'm guessing my opponent is doing this to try to hit a land drop. Implement of Combustion. I think that does 1 damage. Yeah, that's fine. My opponent just fully whiffed there. This is great for me in the kind of short term, because I get to just like make this land drop, stabilize the board, probably use my next turn to Reckoner's Bargain, assuming that I miss my land drop, gain a little bit of life, and then kind of get a pro-red creature going. Goodbye. Sure. So if I'm willing to risk a little bit of damage, I can just immediately Reckoner's Bargain and try to do that and a Tithing Blade in the same turn cycle. I think I am willing to risk that damage. Risk, not worth it. But I still like gain 2 life. It's okay. Sure. Got it. Yeah, if I'm only taking 1 point of damage for that decision, that's totally fine. I'm at 16. Not a lot here in terms of land drops. Like, I have stuff here that will handily win me the game, assuming that I actually get the chance to cast it. Some amount of direct damage is just going to end up going at my face. A Bushwhacker, sure. And this is where I just need to hit that 4th land drop so that I can double spell in a turn cycle. Yeah, fantastic. So I think I'm just going to do this and immediately sacrifice it for some life and work on hitting the next land drop and finding more removal. And now I think I am just going to just immediately do this. Did not hit the next land drop. The menace here is a little annoying. Yep. I'm just going to die to double Galv Blast. Guess I'm not technically dead to that. Yep. And then Sacrifice Blood token kills me. Or that works. Yeah. No, just absolutely could not deploy all the very good cards in my hand. Chainer's Edict is okay. I imagine the duress type things are playable just to speed up my deck. The fact that some of the stuff over there is going to have menace is not the greatest. My Pestilence is not particularly strong. Paying the life is just very scary. But it is my way to kill a bunch of 1/1s, assuming that my opponent does have something like Kuldotha Rebirth. Let's assume that I get rid of Snuff Out, because it costs so much life. I replace those with Chainer's Edicts. The Witches technically block. Duress effects are kind of like gaining 3 life, on average, probably. I'm unsure about them. They just miss a fair amount of stuff. I don't think my Witches are great. I don't think my Pestilences are great. The Witches do just sit there and block the non-menace stuff, though, so I think I am just going to hit submit. I guess I keep this. I do kind of just hate the fact that if I miss land drops, I'm just very likely to lose this matchup. And if I dedicate mana towards finding those land drops, then that's mana that's not being used on the removal that keeps me alive. Alright, so we're just land pass. We're going to have to use Troll to get a swamp. Mountain into 1 damage. Or no, it's sacrifice 1 damage, sure. Since there's not a creature in play immediately, that means that I can go ahead and play my Elf Bread on my turn. Yeah, more other Elf Bread. Not ready for that. Land drop is fantastic. Sure, that's fine. Do a dude? Nope. I'm loving this. This just allows me to play out another one of these. Maybe start looking for a white land. I'm going to say no to that. More Elf Bread. Got it. So if my opponent, taps out for some creatures. I can gain 4-ish life with tendrils. That's good against this. To worry about like Bushwhacker next turn. Another land drop. Oh, is it Bushwhacker this turn? That's Bushwhacker this turn. That sucks. That's a large amount of immediate damage. So I could double small removal spell here, or I can single removal spell while gaining 4. I think is just what I am going to do. And I can try to use this to buy some time until I find a Pestilence or otherwise stabilize the board. First strike and haste. Sure. I'm going to take 4 here, which offsets the life gain that I got last turn. I do still just have 6 life queued up here. So I am always doing this. I kind of want an untapped land so that I can crack both of these, but that means not playing these Guardians, which is awkward. I think I'm just going to accept that. I just don't know how much burn is coming at my face. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold these up. I am afraid of eating a bunch of end of turn damage. I don't. I think I'm happy to see more land drops at this point. I think I can cast down and crack 1 bread. Just kill off a token. Gain 3. End up at 11. Reasonable blocker. I think I am just going to play that and crack this in this turn cycle. Alright, something's happening end of turn. Lightning Bolt is fine. That's 3 damage that is not going at my face. Sure. My opponent does have an artifact, unfortunately. I'll offset a good chunk of this damage, but not all of it. My Edict's not great. My white cards are uncastable. My Lembas is okay. Some of these things have 2 toughness. Pestilence is not the best against them. It just kind of feels like my deck is too slow. Like, if I double Edict in this turn, I still am just taking 3 damage, and my opponent has 3 cards in hand. I feel like if I am not doing selection to get me towards other things that matter, I'm just not winning. Like, I don't even feel like my opponent's draw was good, but I still just kind of feel like I am dead. Alright, well, I can double Edict still, but it doesn't feel good. I expect there's some amount of direct damage that's just coming at my face. Not immediately. Alright, looks like I'm taking some damage. There's a Kuldotha Rebirth. So I can Reckoner's Bargain, Tithing Blade. Gain a little bit of life here. Absolutely cannot play out Thorn of the Black Rose. I will lose the game if I do that. Am I just losing the game anyway? Kind of feels like I'm just losing the game anyway. I'm at 11. Yeah, I don't think I can play this card. Yep. Sure. I guess I am lucky that my opponent does not have relevant spells. Sure. Okay. I'm at 4. Yeah, so I cast down something. Like, I can cast down this, block this, take 3, go to 1. I don't really think this is worth playing from here. I'm going to concede. GG's. Okay, so how do we feel about the deck? Not good. Not terrible. I think this falls into this is fun to play if you enjoy a certain style of Magic, but it does not feel like I'm keeping up with the power level of the format. Like, the games where I like very easily won were games where either Monarch or this combo just took over the game because I like did them. The games where like your opponent plays a creature, you get rid of it, you stick Thorn, and you stay ahead for the whole game, like those are great. But so frequently you're playing from behind where this card is risky, or a lot of stuff just ends up going under you. I also just don't feel like we are keeping up with the card advantage of Affinity at all. Like, I think they were 10 to 15 cards ahead of us in many of those games. So I think there's some tension in the deck building, right? Like, if you want to run something like Tendrils of Corruption, you need as many swamps as possible, and the same is true with Witch's Cottage. But by not playing artifact lands, we make some of these Reckoner's Bargain type cards innately worse. I think this deck is fine. I don't think it's anything special. I enjoyed my matches. I feel like the magic was intricate, but I felt like I was working harder for my wins than my opponents were. And I want some free wins. In sort of praise of the deck, the whole Sunlit Marsh troll thing was really good. Like that, minus that last game where I did not cast these, but I had like the option to find the white land. I was not hurting for white mana throughout this league. I'm sure I did not sideboard optimally. Like that's very clear. I don't know the format very well. But I think Pestilence is a thing you do because you want to do. It's a labor of love, not, a tier 1 strategy. But it was pretty fun. So folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Should you need some magic cards, toamagic.com, promo code ThrabenU while you're there. And I hope you enjoy your day. See ya.